So let's assume that we've got that right in our organizations, and I think that would be critical that we have that particular piece of the puzzle in place. So what would if you were coaching managers out in the field and they're like, hey, I'm dealing with particular issues, what's sort of the disciplinary process that you would go through from maybe the start of an issue coming up all the way to termination? I guess you got two possible outcomes. One is that you restore the person, and obviously that's an ideal scenario. But in terms of leading to termination, what does that look like? What's that process look like for us here?
Yeah, so I would always encourage our managers to deal with issues, and I know issues is a broad term, but to deal with issues early on. In other words, don't let them grow into something that requires more discipline than necessary if you had dealt with it sooner or early on. And so having said that, I also don't think that we need to be police officers kind of peeking around every corner, you didn't do that right, or and just kind of constantly in an overbearing way overseeing our team members. And so, but I think it might look a little something like this. I mean, if there's an issue that develops, whether it's performance related or attitude related or attendance related, whatever the issue may be, I think we go to that team member. We go to them early on, and we have a conversation. We help them understand how their particular behavior is not in line with our employee handbook, with just the way that we work, the way that we think, the way that we want to portray our business to our customer, and help them understand why that's an issue, why that's a problem, and then clear steps as to how they can correct that.
Yeah.
And that's resourcing, that's equipping. If you just tell somebody what the problem is, but you don't help them understand how they can solve it, then we've not really done anything to help the situation. And so I think coming alongside early, giving every benefit of the doubt, I think it can become easy at times to be cynical and jaded with frontline team members. And it's like, because some of our managers have, I've seen this before. I've seen it not once, I've seen it 1,000 times before. And so they just kind of, if not careful, can at times begin to expect the worst. And not give the benefit of the doubt. And so I think as often as possible, whenever possible, we give the benefit of the doubt and encourage a team member in the direction of the behavior that we want to see changed or modified. If that does not work, if that's not successful, then we need to document that. And so we would do that by way of a written reprimand. And
so that's sort of first stage you're talking about. It's sort of the verbal. People call it verbal reprimands, but just a verbal interaction with them. And if that doesn't work, then you begin to document sort of that process.
And I might even say, so prior to a formal verbal where you're sitting down with a person and you have gone to have the specific conversation about this performance issue, I think it's just correction in the day-to-day coming and going of it doesn't have to be some heavy setting on the front end. And so we might move from that, just kind of the everyday in the course of conversation, work and life, correction, to sitting down and having a formal verbal conversation where we give clear expectations and a clear path forward. Then we would move to a written reprimand where we document that and we sit down, and really that's really a second verbal. We're just documenting it, and that just raises the bar on the expectation. I think we always need to help our people see, understand, and know where they are in the process.